Welcome everybody to this really special and I hope rather different webinar for all of you agents. Thank you for joining in. Greetings to many of my friends. I'm hoping that the presentation we're going to make for you will give you a few new ideas to think about. It's a unique workshop and I was lucky enough to meet Jana recently. Jana is the founder of Trendstop, which is one of the leading organizations around the world that does trend forecasting, and she's going to explain to you about that. And we felt that we had something a little bit different to offer to agents, a slightly different stance, and maybe we can talk through some of the things that concern many of you as agents, or even as brands working with agents, if any of you have tuned in. So I'm going to ask you just to type yes in the chat box so you can see and hear us okay. If you have any questions, we'll be dealing with them at the Q&A towards the end. We're hoping it'll be running for about 45 minutes. We may run over, we may run under, we never know. But please keep asking any questions, but we will be dealing with them at the end. So now, Jana, I think it's time for you to introduce yourself, and at the same time, maybe you could tell us what you do, what is a trend forecaster, and how do you think you can help agents?
Well, thank you, Anton, and hello, everybody. Lovely to be here. Yes, my company Trendstop is what we call a fashion trend innovation agency. So we help forecast the future fashion trends and help brands create relevant and commercially viable collections. And we then help sales and marketing people sell them. So it's a bit more of a holistic approach to understanding future fashion and future collections. And lately, we've been helping brands pivot in this post-corona market. And at this time, I think it's fair to say that innovation is needed, and it's not possible to continue doing everything the same as it was before. And I have a couple of slides here to share as well. Just a moment. And just tell me if you're not seeing my slides at any point, but we're sort of looking at this, the future of collections from this holistic perspective, which is looking at first who is the target consumer, and then what is the brand positioning, the brand values, and how does the brand serve the consumer. And then from that, you can then go into looking at like what is the relevant product and range to offer to this consumer, and what are the relevant marketing communications and even a relevant experience to offer the consumer. So it's kind of like a 360 approach, and we of course aim to get positive results to the client. So it's very much linked on what will actually sell in future seasons, and we aim to balance the creative and commercial within brands, or within the brand and the creative and the salesperson relationship. So and we study where trends begin. So we study these people known as innovators, influencers, and early adopters. So they can be innovative consumers, brands, artists, creators, kind of where the new seeds of trends can be found. And in usual times, we would have 148 trend spotters in 27 different cities gathering this information and visiting 1,500 stores and events each month. And we also have 30 trend curators here in London, who are then tracking and what's growing and what's declining in terms of trends. So for agents specifically, we prepared some really exciting things to talk about what are new trends in selling, and selling digitally, and selling in more engaging ways digitally. I hope you will find that interesting.
Okay, so Jana, how do you see selling collections will be different in the coming seasons? Well,
I think everyone sort of is starting to accept that there's sort of no going back to life exactly how it was before COVID, and the world is changing, and businesses and who want to survive will need to adapt and innovate. And in terms of wholesale, there'll be a kind of new demand for digital marketing materials, first to get the buyers to come to the either physical or virtual showrooms, and there'll be more demand for things like video lookbooks and other digital selling tools, and things like storytelling and using trends to build authority and present collections in more exciting ways will be important. And there are even new opportunities like agents and salespeople becoming more actively helpful in driving the profitability for the collection, instead of just waiting for the creative brand to arrive with something new every season. We can talk about how agents can have a kind of a more active role in planning the profitability of the collection from the start.
Okay, so I think maybe I should just tell you what I think about some of the things that you've been talking about, and some of the things.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I agree that things will not be the same for many, although there are some people who are going to be stuck in the old world and they'll carry on doing the same old thing. But I think the ones that go forward with new initiatives and new ideas are the ones that I think are going to be the ones that we're really going to see the success. So, you know, we need to find new skills, we need to develop new skills. But I know that many agents will have understandable fears about going out into the world at the moment to meet clients. Already I've had a number of agents writing to me that this is their concern. There are even some of them a little bit anxious about approaching them. So we have to find a way to overcome them. And the digital world is a worry for many. I know many brands will be pushing you to go out on the road because they want to see you getting the business. So it's very important that you stay safe and keep your clients safe. I think I've talked about this in the past. But I think that you wanted to know more about the concerns of the agents.
Mm-hmm. And what would be hopefully interesting for the audience to hear as well, and just to start from talking about what are some of the concerns of agents in terms of adapting to this post-COVID market showroom situation.
So I think that agents need to find a way to overcome their fears. How do they entice buyers to come into the showroom? Is the digital solution the only solution? Many may want to come in. Should agents make smaller collections, for example? And that's something I know that Jana's going to talk about recently, because that's her area of expertise, how to turn a large collection into a smaller, successful collection. How to maintain and be sure to be paid by the companies that you're working with. I know many of you have concerns about that. So what I'd like to know is, what is your opinion, Jana, about digital selling? And can you explain how it works?
Well, we work more with brands, and what we are saying in terms of wholesale brands and how they are sort of turning to this digital selling is that they're doing more virtual showroom sessions, and they are doing more to link the physical with the digital. And there are sort of new tools emerging, like using storytelling and using trends as sales tools to kind of enhance the digital experience, which is less deep than the physical experience. So kind of developing these new tools to add depth and interest and engagement to the process, and those tools are used for both to entice the buyers to come to the appointments and then to close the deals as well. And this sort of need to storytelling, we are seeing that there'll be loads more demand for video lookbooks and other digital sales materials, which will be used both, like I said, to close sales, but also to provide consumer-facing sales tools to the buyers, to the stores, so that they can get more value out of the conducting the business, and things like just talking about trends to buyers. It helps add authority and build trust again when working in a less sort of close way, and these storytelling tools and these trend tools will help give a strong sales pitch and close the deal. So we've prepared some case study examples little demonstration materials to show you in a minute as well.
Okay.
And so I come from a world that's quite familiar with the digital world. So what would you say, Anton, are some of the concerns and even worries of the agents around pivoting to digital selling?
I would say there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of understanding. They don't really know how to use the technology, and it's not that, you know, it's not that simple for many. I think a lot of, especially anybody who's over 20, it's an exaggeration, but maybe get anxious about it. But having said that, I know there's a friend of mine who's actually 90 years old, who's an agent and still active, and he's better at a computer than me. So there are people out there who really know what they're doing. I think a lot of people are concerned that technology is going to take away from them the ability to have their relationships with the shops. And I think that one of the things that you, Jana, will be able to show is how that is not the case and how it can enhance their ability to connect with the shops.
Yeah.
So there's a need for the agent actually not to be behind in this, but to have a leadership role, to actually take over, introduce the brands in a new way and show that he knows and understands it. Because again, many of the independent shops themselves will also have some anxiety about this technology. But it's a matter of connecting with the shops and being able to understand and explain to them how simple it really is, because it's not that complex. So whilst we're on the subject of digital selling to shops, many agents are concerned that there's a growing trend selling direct to consumers. What are your clients planning? And what are you advising them to do in this matter?
Mm-hmm. And by the way, before I launch into my answer, feel free to everyone who's online, just feel free to have your say on these topics as well. Say if you type in the chat if you agree or ask your additional questions, and then we can answer further in the Q&A at the end as well. It will be great to hear your thoughts as well. So yeah, so in terms of selling direct to consumer, which is something that perhaps agents haven't been so close to yet, but it's definitely something that a lot of brands are discussing internally at the moment. They really want to get direct to consumer sales, and they're looking to streamline the distribution channels. And I have, if I can share my screen again, I will have a slide on that topic as well. So we have here the kind of this is what a lot of like brand owners have been speaking about. So you have the sort of long process here from the producer through agents or distribution, then retailers, consumers, and maybe these are slightly, I don't know, this graph was given this way around, but I guess distributor comes a little bit before agent. But you can see how what the brands want to do is to clear the clutter and go as much to direct consumer as possible. And we could say that the online shopping is kind of the new fast fashion, that everyone will be doing it, and e-commerce buyers are already much more home at looking at products online and digitally. And we're sort of entering an era where agents will need to show they can still add value and are able to use these new digital tools and know how to sell to online stores as well. Otherwise, many brands might be looking to cut out the agents and hire perhaps a dedicated e-commerce staff in-house instead. And I don't know, I had a couple of points about what's happening in physical retail. I don't know if you're interested to hear them more. Do we want to move on?
Okay.
So these were, like, in terms of physical retail, what sort of the retail brands are talking about. There's sort of two main trends, and the first one is quite close to the agent, which is sort of the independent boutiques continuing to serve the baby boomers, especially, who are the Luddites and the slightly more tech scared audiences, and they'll be still going to boutiques, and those boutiques will be sort of going the extra mile and giving them real, true, human to human excellent customer service. And then the second trend within retail is sort of physical stores becoming these sort of amazing destinations and like experiential spaces where people will go to them in the same way how we would go to see an art exhibition. So these two trends are going to gradually lead to sort of anything bland or middle of the road gradually fading away, because the non-baby boomers, if they simply want to buy something, if they just want to make that transaction, it's so much easier for them to go online, and they're becoming increasingly familiar doing that.
Okay.
And we've already seen that in the UK very much so.
Okay, so maybe I could just say something about online selling, just from my point of view, that I know online selling is very important. My wife spends a fortune online, but she's one of those people that you really don't want to know, because she sends back 90% of what she buys. And this is a problem for many, how to deal with that. So there's a wariness amongst brands as well, although they want to go direct to the consumer, that there are costs involved and not everybody can make it pay. That's clear. So Jana and I may not agree on everything here, and that's fine. But I think that is a concern. So, you know, bearing in mind what you've said, what can agents do about that? How can they still stay relevant? I think they are, but you have your own ideas, I know.
Yeah, and definitely for sure, we can hear your thoughts on that topic further, but the topic of kind of trust is one thing when you are just buying one item as a consumer, but when you have to place an entire wholesale order of, you know, hundreds of pieces, that's the scare factor sort of rises further. So definitely a very interesting conversation point. But with that aside, in terms of what we just said about direct to consumer and brands sort of wanting to do more of that, and how agents can stay relevant in this more digital future. So it will be over time. It will be necessary to learn more digital selling techniques to cater especially for the e-commerce and wannabe e-commerce retailers, which are a growing number these days, and not only for the process itself, but to help provide them advanced sales tools, like what we'll be showing you some examples soon what those look like. So that, because the digital retailers are also looking constantly how to make those products more exciting and more sellable online. So there's a big trend on that. And but there are other ways agents can stay relevant as well. So they can become much more active in helping brands create more sellable collections from the start. So I would like to explain a little bit about this with my screen shares again, if that's okay. So this is the current situation, which some of you may be familiar with, is that typically only sort of 25 or 30% of the collection accounts for 75% or so of the sales, which means that if 70% of the collection was cancelled, the brand would, or the sales result would pretty much be still the same, because if the winning 25 to 30% was left in. And that's something that we have been helping brands to do, and we can help agents create the collections to achieve the focus on these items that work. And it's going to be even more important to focus on this in this post-COVID recession market. And at the same time, brands are also realizing, if we talk about the end consumer, that the end consumers want to buy into more sort of thoughtfully created collections and support meaningful brand values like sustainability and just other things like diversity, etc. And they don't want to they don't want to continue supporting this irresponsible fast fashion, or that's another trend that's sort of rising with consumers. And that's sort of a big part of our job, to help streamline collections and even individual products to get rid of that 75% unsold and wasteful items. So I believe, Anton, you call them the garage collections, because they are the bits that just end up in the garage because they didn't sell.
Well,
so,
ever since when I was an agent, we always, you know, we got rid of a certain part of the collection. I'm sure everybody here will relate to this, and it went into the garage. But,
yeah,
you know, it was my non-expert way of of selecting, and others do the same. But with somebody like yourself, we can perhaps be more professional about it.
Well, it's just about sums it up, but but the thing is that to make this happen, it's almost like the agent or the sales person and the brand need to collaborate, because brands are often so creative and full of these creative ideas, and they don't always consider the commerciality, and it's sort of something that it's in the agent's interest, of course, to receive better selling collections from the brands. So we can chat about that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I think, okay, so I think what we need you to do is tell us a little bit more about how you reduce the size of collections, or how the agents can do it themselves with or without the cooperation of the brands.
Right.
I never told my brands that there was such a thing as a garage collection. They would have been appalled.
Yeah, I think that needs to that sort of stick needs to be shown to the brands sometimes.
Maybe. they you know what designers are like. They're very sensitive. If they knew something they spend a long time designing was sitting in the garage, they'd be very upset.
Yeah, but this is in this current time. It's interesting how more and more designers and everybody just wants to produce less waste. That why should we waste all the resources, first the business resources, but then also the planet's resources to create stuff that nobody wants to buy at the end. So we call it creating less but better fashion, to focus on the good stuff from the start. And so to answer your question about how this could work between a brand and an agent. So I guess the sort of starting point from the agent's perspective is that you have the local knowledge and you know what your buyers and stores are looking for generally. But as an agent, you can of course only select what's put in front of you. So you are sort of limited in the product, and that limitation then goes down to the buyer as well. So what we are saying is that, and we'll show you a little nice example of how this could work in practice. But so we come from this place of having this future trend knowledge. So we identify what consumers are going to want in the coming season in terms of colors, materials, shapes, etc. And agent with this type of information, agents could talk to the brands earlier and during that collection development stage, and help even guide the brands to create these bestsellers for that market, because they come from what the buyers want, the kind of local market knowledge with that. And imagine if you could even say to your buyer that they could be pretty excited to hear that if you told them that you are creating a special collection for them based on their feedback. And if we were supporting with that, we would of course then help make sure that that the brand executes it in such a way that it's not just a local collection, but the brand can then sell those pieces elsewhere as well, so it's still affordable and possible for them to do that. And it is as in this sort of new climate where consumers want to make more meaningful purchases, like I mentioned earlier. There'll be less. It means there'll be less impulse buying. Consumers will be spending much more time researching what is the specific item that they're gonna invest in, how they're gonna spend their money, and they want to support these more the meaningful brand values like sustainability. So in this market, focusing on that most relevant 25% makes sense. So and then if I can, I don't know, write your thoughts if you have any thoughts on this or questions around this, or do you agree, disagree? What do you think? And then I wanted to then switch gears to another topic that's sort of always on everyone's minds in the industry, that's the travel aspects, and what are your thoughts on the future of trade shows and physical travel, since we are
that's a really a hot question, and it's on everybody's minds. I mean, there are very few exhibitions taking place. Everybody's, the exhibition organizers are trying to organize digital shows. Now, I'm afraid I'm somewhat cynical about this. I know they're trying to do good, trying to help their brands, but I actually somewhat suspect they're trying to hold on to the clients for the future when they can show again normally. So you know, as you said before, I do not see people placing large volumes of orders online. Certainly they'll have to do some, and it's a great tool for the agent. But you know, in Paris, I think I talked about this in one of my previous webinars. In Paris, the security is so ridiculous that, you know, you'll have to queue, you'll have to pre-book an appointment. If it's too busy, you'll be told you can't come in. In Copenhagen, they've done something quite interesting. The actual SIF is not taking place, but Revolver is. Revolver is the more trend, younger collections. And at Revolver, what they've done is they've split the exhibition between 2 halls to allow for social distancing. And everybody has the same stand, very basic. They can't put what they want up there, so they keep the price down for everybody. And I think that's quite good. But I think it's going to be some time because, you know, basically we can't travel, or if we travel to France or Italy, we may find when we get there we can't get back home because, you know, with the various restrictions that the governments come up with, sometimes at short notice, we never know. So I think it's going to be some time before things change with fares. Many, you know, those that are going digital, we'll see how they work. They look quite interesting. I know Amsterdam's done quite an interesting thing where agents and brands can go together online and you can connect up. And there are other efforts being made, but I think exhibitions are just out. And that's why you guys as agents are so important right now, because you're one of the few ways that brands can actually be sure to have the best chance of selling. So I think you have to hold on to that, and you have that power and you have that leadership quality. So I think it's really important. What do you think of virtual trade shows, Jana? I mean, and what about JOGGER? You know, how do you think this might impact on agents? I'm not sure myself, but what's your view?
Well, first, just to finish on your point about the travel aspect, is that some of the travel experts are saying that travel may not be at the levels that we've experienced before post-corona for another 5 years. So it might take quite a long time to build back up, and this season, and I agree with you, Anton, that the agents, you know, the agent will be, the showroom will be sort of the only place really where you can locally see the collection in a physical format if trade shows are not available. So yes, that's valuable for buyers. And I just forgot what I was going to say. Never mind, it happens. I was going to
ask you about, you were going to answer about trade shows and JOGGER,
right,
and how you think this will impact on agents.
Yeah. So from the, again, coming from a little bit from the wholesale branch sales perspective, they definitely, the sort of e-commerce buyers and those millennial buyers, who are 40 years or younger, they are already quite at home buying digitally and getting used to that idea. And it's almost like this, and there'll be, for sure, there'll be more digital selling tools developing. And I remembered what I was gonna say. I'm gonna say it now. So the travel. So already a lot of people are speaking about that. It doesn't make sense to travel just for the sake of a meeting in New York from Europe or whatever. So it's just like travel will be more for personal life experience, and people are going to realize that you don't have to travel to the other side of continent to just have a meeting, and people will get used to using these virtual tools more. And this current season where this digital world was sort of thrusted upon everyone as a surprise, these digital trade shows that are popping up now, it's very much of an experiment, that everyone's just trying to try things out and do the best of what they are capable of without almost no pre-warning. So we are kind of at that trial stage at the moment, but there'll be a lot of those, you know, there'll be good methods that will be discovered, and they'll be used more. Like the Amsterdam idea is a good one. A lot of the more high-end fashion weeks and the digital presentations are very much on the lookbook mode, so you don't see much of product in detail, but you see these amazing, storytelling lookbooks. And to that, of course, you have to combine with a method that shows the looks and the line sheets and the collection in a clear way to actually look at the product and be able to buy that. So I reckon that there'll be, even in September, we'll see already a little bit more advanced version of some of these digital methods. And I think they're going to continue to develop alongside the physical options.
Okay.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, so what I think one of the things, I know that agents have concerns about JOGGER, and I don't know how agents are going to pivot towards virtual meetings with buyers. I'm not sure how that will work. I have some anxiety and concerns about that. But I think that you can use the technology by using Zoom meetings to connect with your clients, the shops who you're selling to. You can create little mini conferences by inviting a few together. And we're going to talk, Jana's going to talk in a little while about how you can actually create your own mini show to show to people by just simply using your camera, your telephone. So I think it's going to take some time before they get used to that. So my question to you then is, how do you feel agents can pivot to a more virtual way of doing business? And how to engage with an audience and promote an audience's reaction and participation? How do you get the the involvement of the viewers, as as we're trying to do here as well, in this webinar?
And it's an important question, and it's probably one that many are sort of grappling with if you are not used to digital ways yet. And I would say that sometimes, like one thing I would say that sometimes the worry is bigger than the actual doing of it. That sometimes it's some of those things are not, that there are like easy ways to achieve some of those first steps. That it's sort of like first I would say like try not to worry about it, and we'll show you a couple of little tools in a bit as well. And then the other thing I would say, that the worry about JOGGER or other virtual showrooms is that it's kind of like the if you can't beat them, join them a mentality that can apply there, that an agent can equally get their space in those platforms. And I would say that the agent can be joined there to become kind of the connector between the digital and the physical, because you have the actual samples, and you can be sending samples to people, giving buyers real service, which at the moment the virtual showrooms are not geared to give for every brand in that way. And so it's kind of like you can if the virtual showroom is the store filled with stuff to buy, you can become the shop assistant. So the showroom is like a store without any shop assistants in it, and the agent can sort of provide that service. And so did you have any more points on that, or shall we move on to?
I think we should move on to the question of trust, because we've kind of touched on it, and the thing is that the agents will, let's say they begin to use the digital methods of connecting with people. How can they trust? I mean, how can a buyer look at a collection online, get it in? How are they going to know that the trust is there, that it's going to arrive as they've seen it? How can you develop trust as an agent with a new client, that you're doing something special for them? You've got to get talking first. I think, we many of us forget, actually, there is such a thing as a telephone, and the telephone is still the first method of talking to people, or actually knocking on doors, as long as you arrive with your mask, because these days you have no choice now. As from, So I think people will be pleased to see you because they haven't seen that many people in the last few months,
definitely.
more than anything else. So the digital intro and Zoom meetings, setting up Zoom meetings, all these things are going to help people to talk and develop trust. I mean, it's not very different to before. So how do you think agents can get close deals digitally with trust built in, you know?
Well, let's look a bit further into it. I've got some samples here on my screen that I can show you. So first, I wanted to share a little bit about this. I've been mentioning this kind of storytelling and using trends to sell, which are sort of sales enhancement tools, or telling the story of the products better for the collection. And that in itself, it's kind of like an indirect way to build trust as well, but it's also a way to engage and excite the buyer. So we have here an example clip of first like one of these storytelling lookbooks, which are increasingly popping up at the moment. So let me just navigate to my video clip here. Are you seeing me clicking on this video? Is it showing the video for you?
Yes.
Oh, lovely. So this is just a short one from a Spanish designer called Tisca Espadas, and it's got a combination of sort of like a live photo shoot and a bit of a storytelling, and then the clothes and the products are sort of shown within that context, just to give you a little flavor of this method.
It's lovely.
And as you can see, these are a little bit more conceptual products because they, you know, that's the sort of where the new factor is coming in, but equally more commercial ones can start thinking along this line as well. And then here we have another example, which is basically like a more flat based, like an image visual version of something that one of our wholesale brand clients who sells belts, wholesale belts, they took some of the trends that we have developed on our website, and this particular trend was for this sort of mood and a print story called In Awe of the Ocean. So it was sort of celebrating the oceans and kind of had a nod to the sort of whole ocean plastic problem issue. And what they simply did is that they gathered some of these trend images from our website, and then they put together a nice email, visual email they then matched all their blue belts, and these weren't even particularly sustainable belts, although in the ideal world, of course, they could be and maybe should be, but they just simply took the designs that they had that matched this mood of this theme, and then it instantly made everything look sort of current and relevant and linked to a new trend. And they managed to get a lot of virtual showroom appointments in this way, and because they sell accessories, they are admittedly easier product to present in the virtual showroom setting. But they said that their experience was that it was the results were good, and the virtual showroom works just as well, but it's just without the travel aspect. So so these types of tools, they of course have less of that physical contact, but they do help set the scene and inspire and create you know, nice anticipation to excite the buyer and entice them in. So it's kind of the two sides, that of course the physical gives more trust, but then there's like sort of new ways to look at the digital, how it can be a friend and an ally. And I keep thinking back on this current time that, you know, back in the early days when everything was in theatre, when you had to, if you wanted to see a play, you had to go to the theatre to see it. And I bet that in those days there were a lot of people, when, you know, the first movies when cinema first appeared, I bet there were a lot of resistance, and they're like, oh, that's like what an idea, not, you know, not real people. How are we going to cope? You know, and I feel that we are in a kind of that idea is never going to go anywhere, and I guess we know now what's happened. So I think there's a little bit of that in this current situation, that we just aren't used to the digital way of doing things. But
Yep.
there are.
Could we have a look at the Nordstrom quick?
Yeah, of course we can. Yeah. So this is an example of course. So this digital selling in the e-commerce and the consumer-facing environment is those retailers are a little bit further ahead already than the wholesale market. So we have a little clip here of the personal shopper at Nordstrom selling an item digitally. So let me just turn that on for you again.
Hey, it's Erin Stylist here at Americana Nordstrom with the seamless legging by Bella. This fabric is super soft, has tons of stretch to it. There's ribbed elastic in the cuffs, 2 side pockets, as well as a hidden zipper pocket. And the waistband is going to have elastic and a drawstring. These are going to have a relaxed fit to them and are perfect to pair with a bodysuit, sneakers, and hoop earrings for a chic casual day.
So you check it a bit quickly, but hopefully the subtitles helped.
You know, what's very interesting is that when you go to Nordstrom's website, you can look at any style that they've got there online, and you can see somebody demonstrating it. And really, something you as an agent you can do, just literally take your phone and you can make a little mini video like that. It's so easy. It literally takes seconds. And if you want to show somebody something, and you can talk through it, and you can send it as a little warm up to brands. You know, hey, you know, look at this, and you can send them 2 or 3 styles. So I think we need to move on actually, because we're going to be way over time here.
Okay,
so,
let me then go back to my screen, and we'll show our nice demo. So we prepared. This is we hope this is quite an exciting bit for you. So we've prepared an actual sales demo how to sell digitally online as an agent, because in the Nordstrom clip it was of course already the salesperson presenting to the consumer, but when you are presenting the future season, it's your responsibility to also convince the buyer that this future is the right one to invest in, and you need a bit of extra confidence to be able to pull that off, to get those orders coming in and stop the buyer being indecisive. So I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna share my screen, and basically what we're gonna share with you is something that can help you with creating that confidence. So this is easy for me to say, but because of our experience in trend forecasting, we know what's going to happen and what consumers are going to want in the future selling season. So I'm going to now give you some of that information about the spring-summer 21 season, which you can use to help you get closer to the client so they can understand what's happening. And this will be hopefully a useful tool to give you some ideas and inspiration, and make it give you an idea how to make things more interesting for your customers. And it's a shortcut to talk about what's coming with knowledge and confidence. So let's go to our live demo. So we're starting with a kind of trend theme or story for the season, and and you'll see how it unfolds. And please ask any questions you have along the way. So we're starting with a women's wear theme called Quiet Utility, and it talks about this idea of the utility fashion presented in this sort of quieter, softer, more feminine way. And we can then talk about the colors, the materials that go with it. So here we are talking about, for example, this trend for what is termed as luxe fluid blends. So this really soft and luxurious and really lovely drapey materials. And we even give some sustainability information from a sustainable supplier here as well. And then, so this is the concept and there's a bit of information. Then we shortcut to the commercial version. So here we have a more commercial product, which is known as the Presentable Comfort PANT. And as a result of the COVID and all these Zoom meetings, people don't want to really wear structured and uncomfortable garments and bottoms anymore. And there's a lot of talk that whether anyone ever will want to wear jeans again, for instance. So, but because hopefully by summer 21 we'll be out a bit more. So hence the launch of the Presentable Comfort PANT. So not just the comfort old jogger, but the presentable, stylish, more stylish version of your comfortable pant. And here it is, and with some colors introduced as well. So we have a color palette for this utility, quiet utility theme, which could go into other products as well. So they're not all bottoms colors, and then we can talk about specific colors. So one of these shades is this soft jade, which is this sort of new. There's been a lot of this sort of sage type of color, so this sort of grayish greens. And here for spring 21 we have the more premium version, and then the trends go to the different market levels as well. So here we are then looking at the version of this type of green in a more commercial version here in this more dusted olive, which is more of a neutral color and pairs nicely with the tan leather. So so the trends also go into the different market levels in this way as well. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna show you a live demonstration of selling this product. So here, so this is sort of the preamble and the trend story around it, and to tell the buyer what the trend is. And then here we have the product we are talking about today, which is also a little bit more commercial version of that Presentable Comfort pants. So this is a bit younger, but still quite feminine, a sophisticated item, so it can be, it's quite versatile. It can be for a younger or more mature customer, depending how it's executed. And it's got these lovely drapey soft materials we saw earlier, and these lovely colors we saw in the color palette. So it's called the Refined Cargo Jogger. And I'm going to show you how you as the showroom can present this. So we are not going to show you just an accessory or top, because then you might say that, but that's easy, you know, to sell an accessory or a top in a virtual session is easy peasy, but we've chosen the most difficult item, which is bottoms. So I'm going to do my demonstration here, and Anton asked me specifically to give the health warning that don't try this at home unless you are safe. And I do a lot of yoga and Pilates, so I have a better sense of balance than the average person. So I'm going to demonstrate for you. I'm just going to move my chair out of the way, and I'm going to step onto my demonstration platform here, and I hope you can still hear me. So I'm wearing, unlike the Nordstrom demo, this pant really comes off better when you actually show it on the body, and you can demonstrate with your assistant or yourself, depending on how your body shape suits and your gender. So we can see that this pant really has this lovely relaxed fit. It's got this lovely fluid material. It's really lovely to touch and feel. It's got these deep cargo pockets with a very satisfyingly good quality snap to it. It's got this sort of dusted olive color going on, and really nice features, really nice sturdy cuff at the bottom. And it also hides all the lumps and bumps around the waist, so it's a very nice flattering trouser. And you could then, as part of your demonstration, if I come back around, you can use, it's good, it is as an agent, it can be a good idea to invest in a good broadband connection and a good quality webcam, because then you can, I'm not gonna take the pants off for this demonstration. I'm gonna show with another piece, so then you could come to your close-up cam and show like I can show what kind of buttons this piece has. You can show more about what the material is like, and sort of just let them see the detail a bit more. And if nothing else, that then saves you not having to ship loads of samples to people, because they can already get an idea, and then you could just ship them the ones that they are seriously considering.
Okay, the health and safety officer wasn't watching. We're safe. Okay. 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 So go on. Did you have something more to say, please?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that just to explain kind of the behind the scenes of this, that what of course makes this type of demonstration it's possible that it's because everything I'm showing you is on trend, and that automatically makes the product look more attractive. And I would know how to talk about them in the right way. And the second reason is that we would have already selected those top 25% most sellable products to present in the first place. So everything is sort of pre-set for success. And that's why we speak about this idea that you could collaborate with the brands more, maybe to help them give you better products from the outset. And it's sort of like the trick to the authority piece here, presenting with this confidence, is sort of that if you know more about what the consumers will want in the future, aka the future trends, for instance, than the buyer does, then it kind of gives you this confidence transfer, and it sort of causes the sale to happen. And compared to the Nordstrom clip earlier, which is definitely the base one, definitely very much recommended, but imagine how much more excited the buyer is, or the end consumer, if they can be presented the product in this more richer, more meaningful way, and then that the buyer will know that they can get these sales tools for you to present to their end consumer as well. So this is like the higher level of what the Nordstrom has started, and for sure it will be coming more and more as we proceed.
I think we need to move on a little bit, Jana.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we need to talk about sales and what will be the financial. We've talked about how to connect with agents, with brands, different techniques that we can use, but then we got to face the reality that actually over the next few months, orders just may not be as good as they were last year. We have to face that as a fact. Many people are predicting there'll be a 20% decline in orders. I'm not sure about that. That's because I'm an eternal optimist. I'm already speaking to several clients that I know who've actually been out doing hotel shows and reporting really, really good sales. They're not using anything digital. They're really old-fashioned. This is the hotel. We've got our masks. We've got our gel. We're going to look after you very carefully. This particular client is a very big brand. He does a lot of export business and business in the UK. So I think there are, you should really, really expect that you may get a lot more business than you may be fearing. And the way newspapers are talking, just don't read them. There is opportunities here. There really are opportunities for doing things. And I think that we all have to take advantage of the opportunities as much as possible. I think that's all I want to talk about in terms of what the possibilities for the future are in terms of business. I think there are great chances here. I think that the opportunities for agents are great. Every crisis presents an opportunity. I think some of you have heard me say that before. It's a quote from Churchill. And one of the things that he says, don't let this crisis go to waste. And change is a constant in fashion retail. We know that. Take advantage of the growing array of choices and channels, all the things, some of the things we've been talking about. There's probably many more that are out there. The coronavirus pandemic has accelerated change. So, you can't go backwards, but we can go forwards, and we can add to our selling by going forwards. And how do we doing? By betting in our efforts, time and money. We need to invest a little to make things work. We only need to be in the market in the next month, but we need to be out there and selling. So I think the potential is there. We've got to see the gaps. We need to have new things. We just have to remember. And interestingly, we do in our newscast that we do bi-weekly, we do Diary of an Agent. And we've had some agents writing to us from Spain, from Italy, from UK, from different countries. Humorously, what three of them have said to me is, our grandfathers had to deal with the Second World War, our grandparents in Spain, they had to deal with the Civil War, and we survived. And I'm sure we're going to survive this. So, Jana, to you, what are the next steps that agents can take now, and what in particular can Trendstop do to help agents after the highly respected work that you already do with brands?
Well, first, I would say that some of you might have seen something like this or gotten this sort of ideas of selling digitally for the first time, or at least they are still very new. But everything new that is valuable will go further, and we really believe, and we are seeing the signs that these methods will go further. And one thing I will say, that if you wanted to if you wanted the easy shortcut where you could of course hire us as your partner, and we could present your entire collection in this way as I just presented. You could have the recordings and the materials and send them to your buyers, or we can create some of those nice invitation materials I showed. So that's kind of the easy option, or in general we can give you these tools to start using these digital storytelling and trend tools to sell with them, and we can train salespeople to how to use them effectively. And we can also help agents to collaborate with brands, like what I spoke about earlier, that to make the collections curated for profitability, and we could be kind of the profitability advisor in the mix to help bridge the gap between the creative and commercial aspects of the collection. And because it's sort of like, at the moment it's like the brands have the creativity and the commercial agents have the commercial side, and at the moment perhaps one reason why agents, salespeople are not haven't been invited to that sort of collection development process is because salespeople can have this over reliance on past sales figures, which also is not perfect for future planning, but we can sort of help bring that good balance for both sides. And a couple of ways we could work with the agents specifically is that the brand could, for example, pay for the Trendstop collection, the profitability service, but the agent can earn commission from bringing the service to the brand, and of course then get the benefit of a collection that sells many times. There's so much more likely to sell and doesn't end up in the garage. And or the agent could or the agent could choose to pay us to create their digital sales materials and presentations for the coming season. So those are like a couple of ways we could help the selling situation. And we actually have today, if I can just finish with a really nice, specific, exciting next step that you can take with us to explore further. So we have actually an opportunity for a few selected agents who to join what we call an online breakthrough strategy session, which is a 30-minute sort of complimentary session to discuss with us how we could help your agency and you achieve what we've covered in this session. And it's completely complimentary, and there's no obligation to buy anything or become our agent. So we've basically posted, or we are posting a brief application form in the chat for anyone. I think it's just popped up there. If anyone is interested in applying for this session, or we can also email you the link afterwards, probably tomorrow now, because it's already 6 p.m. here in London. And then we had just, if we have time, or I don't know how everyone's doing, we had if we want to do the Q&A. And then before that, we had a couple of slides of key takeaway points, which we can also email you as well. We can go through them. So Anton, over to you first to chat, sir.
Well, so just a few small points, although we talked through a lot of things. So every crisis is an opportunity, that's clear. Innovate, be bold, and look at different collections, move quickly, have at least, and that's one thing I didn't talk about, but I think it's really important. If you can find a collection which has got quick delivery, you were going to be doing especially well. In fact, that was one of the things that I think many people mentioned to me, is they're looking for collections with quick delivery. And remember that you know, we help brands to find agents. And if you as agents are looking for a particular collection, just get through to us and we'll try and help you. Jana, to you.
So we also spoke about the using trend to add authority and relevance to create collections sales, and then the embracing and using technology to develop relationships as a new way of building relationships in different ways. And we spoke about enhancing your sales pitch with storytelling and these attractive digital sales tools. And then we spoke about curating collections and focusing on these 25% best-selling items.
Okay.
And then we had the Q&A planned if anyone has any questions, or if any questions have come through. So first, it would be lovely to know that, have you found this session valuable? Did you find it useful? And if you want to write what you found most valuable, it's always interesting to hear what was.
I think looking through the questions, most people are sending us, I agree, that's very interesting.
Lovely. Lovely.
You're right, very insightful. So thank you for these nice comments.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Yeah, we're all enjoying the session. Yeah.
A couple of questions for you guys. A couple of people are having mic issues, so I'll read a couple of questions out if that's okay, Anton and Jana.
Sure.
So firstly, we have a question from Julia Simon. Do you have a program for showrooms to know more about trends, Jana?
Yes, I think first, like a really lovely, thank you for asking, and thanks for your interest. And I think a good way to approach that would be if you sign up for that complimentary 30 minutes session, then we can chat more, because we also like to give a more tailored service just to hear about what sort of products, what markets, etc. you or anyone else who joins is in. So please fill out that little application form, and that's like a great way to get started, because then we can have a conversation first on your needs and what you would be looking for, and then we can advise more specifically. But we have both options. We have both the online platform that has more, especially if you are selling more kind of premium brands, it's a great tool to get some of the insights directly from our platform. But often to build the sales tools, we work quite collaboratively with salespeople to sort of then turn the trends into sales tools.
Right, and then we have a question from Rebecca Starkey, who is having mic issues as well. So I said that we'd read it out for her. So do you guys have any tips on how to keep engagement when presenting, as the beauty of human relationship is lost in the virtual world, to keep things dynamic and upbeat while sharing the screen and presenting?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to comment anything, Anton, on that?
I think a very important word here, and it's a word I'm hearing a lot in fashion collection, is the word emotion. I think if you can find a way to express yourself in a natural, emotional way, you're going to more likely to hold the engagement of the person you're speaking to. I know that when I was an agent myself many years ago, I often used to end up giving therapy to some of my clients because they needed it. So, yes. You know, if you just reach a level of talking to somebody which has a heartfelt emotion and connecting, you're not just trying to sell them something.
Right.
You know, I think that really works very well.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing I found, which of course not everyone feels comfortable doing straight away, but something worth trying. We know you are all salespeople and you can talk, so that's a start. So what I found, you know, over the years that I've been, you know, doing digital presentations is that if like kind of video chat is the next best thing to seeing in person, because it's the face, like seeing the face is kind of what builds the rapport. So I would say that sometimes just even to entice people, it doesn't hurt to just do video messages to people from time to time. So to take out your camera and record a nice message that you know, about what you've got to say, and again, not selling so much, but just building the rapport and just because seeing a person's face builds the rapport more than just reading an email as well.
Yep. So if maybe we're running a bit late here for people, we're already 6:05. So from me, it's a really big thank you to everybody for listening. A big thank you to Jana for her insights, and it's been a real pleasure being able to chat to you and find out more about how you work. And I'm sure we'll be doing something again. So thank you, and thank you to everyone.
It was lovely. Thank you for having me, and thanks everyone for joining. And we can end by putting our contact details, both our contact details on the screen, and then we'd love to hear from you regarding you know, if you want to apply for the complimentary session, or you can contact us for anything if you would like to chat with us further.
Yep. I'm sorry we had to rush a little bit at the end, but otherwise we would have gone on to 6:30, I think. Okay.
Thanks,
so
everybody.
Bye to everybody.
Bye.
To
Take care, and good luck with your new selling season.
Okay. Take care.